So, Sean Strickland recently called out DDP for a fight in Las Vegas around March next year. So, that is the topic of today's video. And, there's a lot to get in here because middleweight is fairly complicated, but the, there's a way for the UFC to work around this, and we'll have to see what happens in January when Trump takes over. Because one of the big things right now, because before we get into all this, if you like the video, subscribe. That's all I ask. Anyways, so where we are right now is Hamza beat Robert Whitaker in Abu Dhabi, dominated him, one of the scariest stopages I've ever seen, um, and guaranteed title shot now. The issue that Hamza has though is he's married to the daughter of a well-known terrorist, from what I've heard, and he hasn't been allowed to fight anywhere but Abu Dhabi. Really, I'm pretty sure he lives in Abu Dhabi too. Um, but yeah, so if that changes, obviously, I'm pretty sure they would do Hamzat Dricus immediately. Well, not immediately, but that'd be the next fight. But because of the fact that Hamzat currently cannot fight in the States, in Canada, and for any of the big countries the UFC are in outside of Abu Dhabi, it's way too risky to put the title on him. And then, obviously, the other person in the thumbnail of this video and the person we're talking about, Sean Strickland, had a very close fight with Dricus where he lost the title after he dominated Izzy, which you could say was a gifted shot, but he earned that title. And like I said, it was a very close fight. I thought Sean Strickland won it personally, but you know, again to DDP. DDP is an unreal fighter. Like you saw that in the Izzy fight. Um, I think Hamza, without a doubt, though, is his toughest matchup. I think Hamza probably is the best grappler to ever come into the UFC. Before that, I would say it was between Khabib and Islam. But not only is he doing, not is he dominating people faster, he's doing it at bigger weight classes. Um, he was talking about being a triple champ, which he still could do. I think, you know, if he cuts down correctly to 170. But I mean, again, too, I kind of think it's not something he needs to do. If he wants to do it, he can. But like I said though, it's very risky now to put a title on a guy who is not allowed to fight in a lot of countries because of the reasons I said. And, you know, the question is not whether or not Hamzat is a star. Hamzat is a massive star. He's one of the biggest draws the UFC has had for years now. But the problem is that one, his health, which he looks like he cleared that up recently. Like the Hamzat we saw in that Whitaker fight, and if you watched the press conferences and the interviews that he did leading up to that fight, it was a lot more calculated, a lot more logical. He was giving credit to Whitaker, pointing out the things that Whitaker is good at, and like the end result obviously was the same. Obviously, in his last fight, he didn't look so good against Usman on short notice, and that was an Usman fighting at middleweight too, which can either help or hurt a fighter. But yeah, like the UFC, like I've been talking to one one of you that I met over Discord and that, and which by the way, more on that will come in the future. We were talking about Hamza last night and that, and like without a doubt, Hamza is the best wrestler like I said I've seen, but putting a title on a guy who you're not sure you're able to bring to multiple countries is very risky. And even though MMA is a sport, just like any other sport, the business comes first. Without the business, there is no fights. So, I think the UFC, they've wanted nothing more than to get the title of Hamzat and have him be one of the guys with Pereira that are, leading the pack as far as UFC. I mean, ever since his rise, no, Hamza is somebody always in the news for good or bad. And, take a look at John Jones's plays. Being in the media for any reason as an MMA fighter is a good thing. You know, you look at Connor, the stuff that he's in the news for is not sounding good, but it's again, it's all lies. That one is a much different case though. But like with DDP, I really like him. I like his fighting style. He the way he was able to not only break Israel Adesanya in the press conference, but Sean Strickland too, who was the guy that broke Izzy before. It's like Dricus, his trash talk is a level above the rest. And it's not like he's sitting there uh, throwing names. Like he is fucking brilliant with his trash talk. I don't think I need to tell you guys that though. Like you guys know that. But yeah, it's again with many things I know. We're gonna have to see how this plays out. But overall, I would say if Sean's looking to fight Dricus in March, around March in Vegas, that fight most likely will happen. Um, it's one that people want to see, and I think that Hamzat will be fighting for the belt in Abu Dhabi, probably headlining it. Um, if he's not able to get his current situation solved. But I want to throw a question to you though, because there are more people, obviously, than Hamzat, than Izzy, than Strickland. Let me pull up the rankings here. There we go. Okay, so we go to middleweight. Number one is Sean Strickland, so he's still the number one contender. Number two is Izzy. Dricus submitted Izzy. Three is Chimaev. He, many eyes, including myself, who's the number one contender. Whitaker just lost to Chimaev, and he was knocked out by Dricus, so I don't see him getting the belt back anytime soon. But I would love to see the trilogy fight between him and Izzy. Like that second fight was really close. I thought Whitaker won that. You had Imavov who lost to Whitaker, so I I think he needs to put together a win streak. K.O. Barallo, he's looking like he's a promising up and comer. Obviously, he called out Izzy a while ago. Again, that'd be a fun fight. Marvin Vittori, Jared Cannonier, Brendan Allen, Roman Dewedze. I don't see these guys being anywhere near the title before either DDP or Hamzat defends it against the top guys. But other than that though, it's it's kind of the same as it's been for a while with the Hamza situation where our people like our country's gonna open up to him having a guy like him in their country promoting massive events like the UFC now like ever since it's gone mainstream it is legitimately one of, if not the biggest sports in the world. Like everybody watches it. Obviously NFL, NHL, NBA, those are bigger leagues. But I think MMA is by far the biggest growing sport in the world. It's been huge in Japan for decades. It's been huge in Europe. Like everybody is interested in fighting, no matter who you are. But yeah, that's all I got. I just wanted to talk about this. Let me know in the comments. Who do you think is next for Dricus? Do you think we'll see a surprise and Hamza will get the next title shot? Which I don't unless they make an early Abu Dhabi card. Um, but yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like, comment, all that stuff I said before. Thanks for watching. Later.